Big Sills, National Football Show. Welcome aboard. Happy Friday to you. Once again, we are power packed, and my good friend Barrett Brooks is going to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk some ball, and he and I are going to go over the draft, the Eagle draft, the NFL draft. Maybe the Eagles do take at number 30, the running back from Texas. We're going to hit on that. I was just telling Tone he was listening to some of my stories, so we're a little bit behind here. But you know what's crazy? People think broadcasting is where I got my fat mouth. It's not true. It is not true. So, Sports 24/7 comes out with a brand new list. I thought back in 2011, I think it was 2011. Tone, you can Google this. Sports Illustrated put the all-time sports team, including the Flyers, including the Pistons, the Miami Heat, and they ranked the most hated teams in American sports history. This was years ago, like 2011. And Sports Illustrated had this list, and of course, my 1986 Miami Hurricanes team were more hated than even the Philadelphia Flyers because of our attitudes, Jimmy Johnson, how the nation perceived a bunch of very vocal African-American kids. Hey, Tone, how about this one? In an era today where you can't say anything, can you imagine putting this out there? Miami Hurricanes, they're the only team that takes a team photo from the front and the side. They were writing that about us back in the day. Here, they got a brand new, this came out 6 hours ago. My wife's like, they're still talking about you guys? Number 10, UCF, 2017. Tony even said it. Damn. 2009, the Johnny Manziel Texas A&M team. These are the most hated college football teams of all time. Number 8, 1993, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 2002, Ohio State Buckeyes. 2017, Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma Sooners. 96, Gators. 2014, FSU Noles. 2010, Auburn Tigers. Look at this. 2005, USC Trojans, and the number one college football team and the most hated team, which means to me the most memorable, is the Jerome Brown, Big Sills, 1986 Miami Hurricanes. The birth of swag, they write. Miami was so talented in this era, the Hurricanes caused instant chaos for the opposition. This is when the U became college football's bad boys. Then Sports Illustrated writer Rick Riley said it best, Miami may be the only squad in America that has his team picture taken from the front and the side. Basically, inferencing that we would be in a police lineup. On a team loaded with future NFL talent, Johnson basically didn't believe in suspensions and handled all disciplinary action in-house. That included several slap-on-the-wrist penalties, shoplifting, fraud. Miami swag wasn't enough, though. We lost to Penn State, but these guys got off the airplane in fatigues, machine guns, handguns, knives. Testaverde throws 6 interceptions. They would go on to win the title. But what caused this hatred was Miami blasting Notre Dame by 51 points in the original Catholics versus the criminals. Actually, we were called convicts. My daughter still to this day calls me a convict. Over a 5-year period, Johnson went 52-9, 87 title, top 2 finishes, 3 times, putting together one of the greatest runs in the history of college football. was great to be part of that. It was great to be part of success. You think there's any coincidence that Jerome Brown brought that attitude to Philly? With Gang Green? How they looked at you guys? Body bag games? Plus you had Buddy Ryan? I like that kind of attitude. I embrace it. You can't do that shit anymore like you could back in the day. You can't get off an airplane with a gun in your hand. Okay? But then again, sports writers can't say these guys belong in a police lineup. Or calling me. I went to a Catholic high school. Okay? I went to a Catholic high school and they called me the convict. I was like, okay. Let's not forget Jerry Sandusky off that Penn State team that beat us. What was he doing? Right? So, interesting. Anyway, Steven goes, Canes hated you guys. Paul goes, you guys brought cool to the map. Jerome was the driving force of that. They were just afraid of us. I don't know what it was. I loved all the guys from Overtown, Liberty City, Belle Glades. I walked into places where a lot of these African-American kids had nothing, and their only hope was making it to the NFL. To this day, all those guys are my brothers. I so love. You know, somebody said something to me a couple days ago on social media. Sills, you know, there's a lot of things about race on you. Yeah. You know why? Because I was in it. I was in it with those guys. Dude, Big Sills is not a racist. He's a Miami Hurricane. End of story. I'm a Miami Hurricane. I'm a Jerome Brown Miami Hurricane. By the way, Tone, I don't know if you guys saw this. Have you seen the 2023 Philadelphia Eagle Kelly Green helmets? I am so stoked for those helmets. Have you seen the new lids? Or I guess retro lids that they're going to wear in 2023? Google it. They're the Seth Joyner Kelly Green helmets. Dude, dope. That is a badass looking helmet. Those helmets look so amazing. I'm throttled, man. I can't wait to see those helmets on those players this coming 2023 season. I can't wait. By the way, we're going to get knee deep into the draft again. Guys, can we do a conversation today without people getting upset with Big Sills? By the way, we've got the draft numbers again. 2 first-rounders, 1 second, third, 2 sevens. That's before compensation picks. Before we get Barrett Brooks on, guys, I want to have a conversation. A conversation. Are you ready? Do you think you're going to pay Jalen Hurts $50 million? Okay? Do you think the Eagles are going to pay Jalen Hurts? I don't know what the framework's going to be. 4 years, 5 years. I don't know what it's going to be. But do you think they're going to pay him $50 million? Tyler goes, no. Carson says no. Brett says no way. James, yes. How about this? Let me throw it around this way. Do you think that it could get around $50 million? Niner says 49. You think it could get how about this? Between 48 and 50 million. You think it's going to get around there somewhere? Somewhere in that room? 40. Okay, let's just go M. Reyes. 47 to 50 million. Again, folks, this is a conversation. So let me throw this at you. Well, if you're going to pay between 47 and $50 million, why wouldn't you make a trade with Baltimore and give that money to the better player in Lamar Jackson? Some of you will go like, he's more accomplished and he's 1 year older. Some go, well, he hasn't played a full season. Well, neither has Jalen. And Lamar's missed 9 games over the last 3 years. Hurts has missed 3. Okay? That's got to play into it. Wait a minute. Before you say hell no. Why? He's 45-16 with really nothing on the team. He's thrown for 12,000 yards. I don't believe Jalen Hurts ever leads the NFL in passing touchdowns. And again, I'm having a conversation here because I made the comment to you yesterday. If I'm going to pay Daniel Jones $45 million, I'm going to go talk to Derek Carr. I'm not talking to that idiot. Bob goes, Hurts is a better leader. Hey, Bob, I do have an ass with the way that whole contract was handled. I do. And it would make me pump the brakes on a conversation like that. Guys, don't ever think that organizations don't have at least a conversation, albeit a small one. But Hurts is not better than Lamar Jackson. He's not more accomplished. Some go like this. Well, he got to a Super Bowl. Well, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles won one. And they can't start anywhere else. It's not like those guys are stars. You paid a bum star money. Carson Wentz is going to be cut by Washington. Nick Foles can't get a job anywhere. It's not like those guys are stars. They won a Super Bowl. Both of those guys got to a Super Bowl. Okay? Plus, Baltimore would get 1 more year on a rookie contract. Again, it's a conversation. Jackson, see, here's something that I don't get also on the Lamar Jackson. Does he want out or does he want more money? I still can't figure that out. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, does he want out? Does he want to go to Miami? Does he want to go Carolina, Atlanta? What does he want? I don't get what he wants. Okay, I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out. Now, look, again, I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to tell you one more time here. The way that whole contract was handled by DaCosta, by the owner, Steve Biscotti, by John Harbaugh, by Lamar himself, absolutely would make me pump the brakes on any conversation. Paul says it's guaranteed money. Lamar's the better player. Jalen was on a better team. Yet to be determined if Jalen Hurts could take a team like Baltimore to the playoffs. It's yet to be determined. Okay, we're going to find out soon. Personally, I don't think the Eagles are going to dive off the cliff as much as people think. I think they're going to make a couple steps back. But then again, I don't think the NFC is all that hot. Okay? Do you really want to see a broken locker room? Okay, there's something to that too, Blunt. Do the Eagles want to go back over that? I hear you. Blunt, those are all good takes. Sills, do you want to divide the locker room like they did when Wentz and Foles were in the building? No, I do not. No, I don't. But if I'm going to pay $50 million, I want to explore everything. Don't you? Don't cut yourself off and your conversations off by expanding all scenarios. And then what you do when you put all scenarios on the table, you funnel it down to what's best for your team. What do you think Lamar Jackson would do with that offensive line, with those receivers in Philly? He's never had that. He's got a tight end. That's it. Actually, it resembles a little bit what they have in Kansas City. The team that Lamar Jackson has is the team that not so much. They're going to have better players in Philly than they have. But Baltimore's been one of the gold standard organizations over the last 15, 20 years. It's been a gold standard organization. Now, the last couple of years, since Ozzie has left, I question some of the moves, especially the handling of Lamar. Okay? Mayhem goes, Joyner said that Jalen's only going to get better. My friend, on January 16th, Lamar Jackson just turned 26. Jalen Hurts in August is going to turn 25. You're making it sound like Lamar Jackson is 5 years older than him. He's not. He's not. He's right around the same age as him. And he's a unanimous MVP in the era of Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes. Only Peyton Manning has ever done that. We're not talking about a non-accomplished guy here. So don't sit there and go, well, Jalen's better. No, Jalen's gotten further. That's not what his resume says compared to what Lamar Jackson has put up here. Since he's been in the league, he's thrown for 12,000 yards. The completion percentage is a little low at 63.7. I would say this to you. Jalen is becoming a better passer than him. I would agree with that. Lamar's the better athlete. Who's the better quarterback? I don't know yet. 101 touchdowns to 38. Quarterback rating of 96.7 since he's been in the league. Those are all fabulous numbers. And here's the one that's the most fabulous. 45-16, and he's missed 9 games. You know, I went back and looked at that and went like this. Man, I'm making it sound like, you know, he's missed a ton, and he really hasn't. Again, I'm talking here. It's a conversation. If you're going to spend that kind of money, would you just focus on one house, one car, one person? Or would you expand your thought process on what you want to really look at and what you're really doing? Do you really believe that Jalen is going to get better and better and better when the roster becomes lesser and lesser and lesser? I don't have that answer. Okay? I don't. The roster in Baltimore has failed Lamar Jackson. And again, the conversation too, I agree with you guys. You got to worry about dividing your locker room. You got to worry about injuries with both guys. You know, somebody posted on my Twitter page. They went like this. Sills, Lamar Jackson has never fulfilled a full season as a starting quarterback. Well, neither has Hurts. Neither has Hurts. Both these guys are not going to have full seasons at any time in their careers. It's the dual threat. Now, is there more mileage on Lamar? Probably. Again, I'm looking at both sides here. If I'm going to pay Daniel Jones $45 million one more time here, man, I'm going to expand my process to look at everything. And I'm not putting Daniel Jones in Jalen Hurts or Lamar's category. I'm not. Shit, if I'm New York, I send Daniel Jones's ass to Baltimore and I bring Lamar Jackson up to New York. You're talking in a room now where now we're at Neiman Marcus here. Again, this is no shade. Look at what we're doing here. We're talking about whether or not to have Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback. Do you know how fabulous of a conversation that is? It's like Ferrari and Porsche. It's like Aston Martin and Bentley. You're not going to go wrong here. Okay? You're not going to go wrong here. Both guys are massive competitors. I do have a problem with the contract negotiations and how it was handled. Okay? Daniel Jones is a puke. He's Mitchell Trubisky on Halloween. That's who Daniel Jones is. I'm not talking about Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. That's an insult to the other two guys. Sydney brings up a great point. Sills, Hurts has worked his way up the mountain. Yeah, but Sydney, how would you like to be told to try a new position and that pig-headed Bill Polian telling Lamar Jackson and his mom the only way he's going to play in the NFL is at a different position? Don't you think that's working your way up the mountain too? Or even my friend Tom Telesco wanting him to work out at wideout. In 2019, he was a consensus and unanimous MVP in the NFL. He made all those guys look like tools. Isn't that working your way up the mountain too? Right? Both guys. Don't forget Barrett Brooks, bottom of the hour here. Okay? And again, this is a conversation here. When you are bringing $50 million up or $47 million, you have to look at all scenarios. Wait a minute. Don't you think that the Eagles have even thought this? Hey, man, do we let the kid play out his rookie contract and let him go into next year with 1 year remaining on his deal? Do we allow that and then pay and then pay the big money at the end of the contract? Okay? I mean, what, you don't think they thought that? You know they have. That's why it's all quiet on the Eagle front here. Des, I agree. I wouldn't let him get into that. Shit, I wouldn't even let it get to training camp. I'm talking the July training camp when they go on July 27th. I wouldn't let it go that far. Because once it's gone that far, I may want to invest in myself. But you're going to be on a lesser team? Well, no. You may be on the same team. Hey, can you imagine if Jalen and Clutch Sports does this? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play at the $4 million deal here. Since we don't have a deal before March 15th, you know what I would do to the Eagles? Bring everybody back. Jalen has the same type of year with the same roster. You'll have to pay that guy $55 million. You bring that team back, he's not going to drop off because the team's not going to drop off. I guess the question is now, who has the leverage? Who has the leverage? Is it Jalen or the Eagles? Lamar Jackson's out there. If I'm Howie and I'm Jeffrey Lurie, you have to use Lamar Jackson as leverage. Well, we can't get a deal done. We'll go to Baltimore and get him. You don't want it to get there, but you've got to create leverage. You don't want a conversation like the Cowboys had with Dak and his people. You can't. France, his agent, had the leverage over the Cowboys and Jones. That's why they overpaid him. Who has the leverage here? Well, you know you've been hurt. That's a little bit of leverage. You lost the Super Bowl. He was spectacular. I don't know how much leverage you think you have there. But you've got to create an opportunity for yourself when you're negotiating. Like, you see the Giants. The Giants are going to go, well, we could draft a guy. We have $53 million in cap space. Jimmy Garoppolo's out there along with Derek Carr. And if you don't sign, we'll go down that road. Again, I'm not saying the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and Clutch and Nicole and all those folks are in that conversation. I'm not remotely saying that. All I'm asking you is, don't you, if you're the Eagles, want to explore all options? Here's $50 million, Jalen, and no defense. Here's $50 million, Lamar Jackson. I know what you can do with no defense. They had no defense the last 2 years in Baltimore. He still won games. He's a couple years removed from a unanimous MVP, and he's only 26. He just turned it January 7th. I looked his age up. $45-16. We're not talking about a bum here. And the only reason I bring this up is because you can't allow the player to have complete leverage in negotiations on you because they'll hold you hostage. Would you entertain it? I want this negotiation with Jalen to be as smooth as possible. I don't want any bumps in the road. I want it to get done. I want it to get done, though, so that we can have a good team around the kid. Tony, again, this is conversation, Tone. I think Hurts is the type of person that you don't leverage against. Probably so. He wants to win and wants to be in Philly. Business is cutthroat, but Hurts, Tony, I believe you're right, Tony. If Derek Carr was on a stacked Eagle roster, he'll be an MVP candidate too.